Hello everyone, welcome back. Corey from Casa Larga here. We're going to go through another tasting series with you, but before we jump into the wines, I wanted to chat about the new kits. Over the past couple of weeks, we heard from customers about our last tasting series, so we've made some edits to make it a little bit easier for you to enjoy, but make it easier in case you wanted to have everyone get a tasting kit, do a virtual tasting party over Zoom or chat, or you just wanted to do it with you and your family. Each person can grab a kit. And it's perfect to be able to do with your friends, even though you can't be in here with us tasting. So I wanted to talk about those tasting kits really quick. What they actually are is they're going to be almost the same thing that you would get here at Casa Larga when you're in the tasting room. You're going to get 5 pre-portioned samples, same exact size that we do right here in the tasting room, all separated for you, so you have those 5 samples. It also comes with a Casa Larga wine glass, as well as a tasting guide. And the tasting guide talks through some fun facts about Rieslings that we're gonna do today, any other wines we do about those. Also goes through how to perform a tasting, some fun facts that we know about our wines and the wines there, and just some good information for you so that you can follow right along at home. These kits are going to be available for $10, and each one that we do will be a different theme with different wines, so you can do them over a couple weeks. But you also don't have to do them in order. You'll be able to pick and choose which kits you like, and just follow along with the videos as we go through them, which is really, really cool. These kits are going to be available for $10. You'll be able to pick them up. You can order at any time, but we are going to have pickups set up on Wednesdays and Thursdays, just so that we can make sure that we get them out and they're as fresh as you can and you can get them when you need them. So as I mentioned before, we're going to go through Riesling today, and we decided to do Riesling because it's one of the most well-known grape varieties that's grown here in the Fingerlakes. But Riesling itself is actually native to Europe, specifically to Germany. And where we are in the Finger Lakes, we're actually a fairly similar latitude to where Germany is in Europe as a whole. So our climate, our soil content here, really, really great for Riesling, and Riesling grows exceptionally well here in the Finger Lakes. We at Casa Larga actually, Riesling is one of our most popular grape varieties. It's one of our largest that we grow. And we're actually going to go through 5 of our estate Rieslings today. And what estate Rieslings are is that just means they come from our estate here. We have a 40-plus acre vineyard here, so all these grapes are grown right on the property. We make all the wine, do everything for it right here in the cellar for it. So as we go through, and when you're doing this tasting at home, the way the sheets are organized, we are going to go from driest to sweetest. And that's just because sometimes when you do heavier wines with a little bit of sugar, they can hang out in the mouth a little bit longer, so it's better to finish up with them. As we work our way through, we'll talk about residual sugar, some of the cool tasting notes about there, and some of the unique properties of our Riesling. Riesling as a whole, what you'll notice is it's what's known as an aromatic white. So flavorful, great nose on it, and the Rieslings here in the Finger Lakes are unique for a lot of different reasons, but one, we get a lot of green apple out of them. We're in apple country here, and Rieslings really, really carry that stony soil that we have and really bring out those minerally notes throughout, which is really, really cool. Riesling is also one that kind of has a lot of misconceptions about it. Riesling, a lot of time is you think or you heard that Rieslings can only be done sweet. And while they are often done sweet, they definitely do not have to be. Rieslings carry a lot of acid, and when you're balancing a wine, sugar is going to help you take some of that acid away. So in order to get a wine that's not quite as acidic, you usually add sugar to it, which is why they can tend to be a little bit sweeter. But again, they don't have to be. So we are going to start with the 5 wines. First wine up is going to be our barrel ferment Riesling here. And this is actually one of our most unique Rieslings because Rieslings tend to be done in a stainless steel tank. They're often not made in barrels. This Riesling, however, is. But the big difference with this is instead of using oak, we use acacia barrels, which is another Mediterranean area wood. But what it is it's very, very soft and it's a little bit fruity. It's not going to add a ton of those really, really woody flavors that you'd expect in an oaked wine. What it actually does is when you have a lot of that acid, barrels will help smooth out some of that acid. So instead of having a Riesling that's going to be really dry, have a ton of acid at the end, you actually get a dry Riesling, has a 0.3 residual sugar, but the acid content is very low because of that barrel. So you get those great green apple notes, really, really strong stony mineral notes with actually a very soft, balanced finish because it's been done in a barrel. You'll also get a little bit of earthiness to it, but it's very, very soft, which is different than your typical drier Rieslings which are kind of like biting into a really, really tart apple. Really acidic right on that end, gets you that really nice tartness. Same kind of thing here, except now it's really, really smooth. Barrel ferment Rieslings, you can see them across the Finger Lakes. There are places that do them, but it is a fairly new process. It's not something that you typically see with a white wine that's like this. Normally barrels are reserved for things like red wines or Chardonnays, but it gives you a really, really soft, dry Riesling, which is one of the reasons that we really, really like it. Moving on down, this now we're going is to our dry Riesling, and it's a little bit different than the barrel ferment dry Riesling. The big difference, of course, is that it's not done in a barrel. So this is what a dry Riesling is going to taste like without any kind of anything else going on to it. It's a 0.6 residual sugar, so a little bit more sugar than the barrel ferment, but the big difference is it's going to have a lot of really strong acid on the end. You're still going to get a lot of those really nice green apple notes. Big difference though is now you're really going to get that tartness in. Really, really crisp, refreshing, again, lots of mineral green apple notes with a really nice acidic finish to it. So if you're someone that likes tart green apples, you're what's known as an acid hound, where you love drinks with acid in them, the dry Riesling there, across the board, those are gonna be what you're looking for. Really crisp, really dry, nice and tart. Moving on to the third wine in our section, we're moving down to medium dry Riesling. And medium dry Rieslings, also known as semi-dry Rieslings, they can kind of be used interchangeably. These are the Rieslings that are gonna fall in between your dries and your sweets. So now we're at a 2.1 residual sugar, which has gone up a bit from that dry Riesling. And what that sugar is gonna do in there is gonna soften that acid. So it gives you a much smooth, balanced finish. Because Rieslings tend to have a lot of tartness to them, a lot of acid, sugar adding in there is gonna help balance it, but the acid is also going to mask some of the sugar. So while at 2.1, you might look at that and say, well, you think that's going to be a little bit sweeter. For our medium dry Riesling, all it does is it takes some of that acid out. Still gives you your great green apple notes, a very nice touch of citrus to it, but it's going to have a very smooth, balanced finish to it. So if you're not a fan of a super dry wine, but you're also not looking for something on the sweet side, the medium dry Riesling is a perfect in-between for you. It is also our top-selling wine here at the Vineyard, and that's what you tend to find about medium dries. Because they're balanced, our dry drinkers, our sweet drinkers usually like them too, because they fall right in the middle. Moving on to the fourth wine, we have our Wild Ferment Riesling. This is another 2.1% residual Riesling, but instead of our winemaker Matt taking yeast that we have purchased and adding that into the wine to help fermentation, we're using the indigenous yeast that's already present on the grapes or on the skins in the grape there to control fermentation. It's kind of an old world style. You know, if you were just to grab juice, you bring it inside and let it sit in your house, it'll eventually start fermenting on its own, because the yeast that you need for fermentation is a naturally occurring thing on grapes. And that's what we do. We just bring these grapes in, we put them in the tank, we allow them to go on their own. It's a difficult process. If it's not the right type of yeast, not enough yeast, it could actually just not turn out. And we have had that happen before. It's a really risky thing. But what it does is it allows you to show kind of how the juice turns out without much help. We just let it go on its own to see what happens. What that does is it makes a very light, mild Riesling. One of our co-workers here affectionately calls it the wild and mild. It's wild yeast with a really soft flavor. With wild fermentation, as I mentioned before, sometimes it just won't work out if the yeast is not right or in the right amount, or it's going to vary wildly from year to year because we're not doing things that we can help control some of those properties. It is on its own, so you get a really cool, unique Riesling year after year after year. We experience that a little bit in general, but when you're doing yeast that is native or indigenous, that's going to happen even more often. It's a really cool, unique wine, especially if you like wines that are a little bit lighter or mild in flavor. Very light, smooth. You get those green apple notes again through that, but you have a nice, smooth, easy, balanced finish out of it. To finish up with our Riesling fight, we're going to go with our Vineyard Hill Riesling, which is affectionately named for the fact that we are the vineyard on the hill. This is our sweetest Riesling, coming in at about a 3.5% residual sugar. And as Rieslings get sweeter, you tend to lose some of that bright green apple notes, and you go into a little bit of sweeter fruits, so things that you're looking at like peach. Sometimes they can even have a little bit of pineapple to them. Still get a little apple in there, but you start going to those really nice juicy fruits. If you like a wine that is a little bit sweeter, this is the perfect wine for you. Really, really fruity, but light, sweet, very refreshing. Lots of fruit notes, again, apple, but a little bit of peach in there with just a very, very smooth, easy finish to it. Perfect if you like a Moscato or something that's a little bit sweeter than, say, some of our other dry or medium dry Rieslings. Nice and light, but again, are nice, easy to drink with a good touch of sweetness to it. So as you're going through here, we try to touch a little bit of everything with these Rieslings, some dry, some sweet. So hopefully across the board, you'll be able to find something there that you really, really like. Rieslings are versatile because they can be dry or sweet. They can pair with just about everything. My personal favorite is pairing a nice dry or medium dry Riesling with Chinese food, but you can go really with anything. It's great with spicy food, great with fruits, appetizers, light meats, pastas, desserts. Great across the board, which is awesome. A lot of times you only find either a dry or a sweet type of wine, depending on the varietal. With a Riesling, you can find them as sweet or as dry as you like. So generally, there is a Riesling out there for everybody, and it's a good thing because it's the most popular grape we're growing in the Fingerlakes, so there really is Rieslings out there for everybody. As you go through at home, taste these wines, make your notes, figure out if you like or what you don't like. All of these wines are going to be available online for you to purchase, still doing curbside pickup, delivery, and shipping, so you can grab them as you need, and hopefully be able to find something that you really, really like. So over the next coming weeks, we're actually going to be doing a couple different sets, allowing you to try different wines, so make sure you keep an eye out for that. And you can, again, taste with us. Have all of your friends buy a kit, and then you can do it all together, whether it's electronically or using social distancing measures. But it's a really fun way to be able to taste some of our wines, even though you can't be in here tasting with us. Which is, we know that we've had a lot. We miss our customers. We know a lot of people miss coming in and tasting with us and going through there. So hopefully this will be a nice in-between as we get ready to open again. But in the meantime, you can still do tastings with us. And then once we open back up, we'll be able to all do tastings again in here together. So thank you so much for joining us today as we went through our new tasting kits and our Fingerlakes Riesling flight with 5 of Casa Larga's great estate Rieslings. We hope that you enjoyed it and that you enjoy the wine. Let us know, give us a call, send us an email, let us know what you think about the wines. And we look forward to continuing these videos and hopefully seeing everybody back in here soon. Thank you so much. Continue to stay safe, and we can't wait to see you.